I took a quarter cup of MCT oil a day. This would have caused me severe diarrhea a decade ago. I've trained my body to handle this much fat, but what I didn't expect were the benefits found in just a week. I took this massive dose of MCT oil to help support my son. He tore a muscle deep in the layers of his back during the wrestling season, and we had a regional tournament quickly approaching without much time for repair. I told him the fastest way to repair the injury was to take MCT. I've been selling it since 2018, so I had a lot on hand. And personally, I'd been in a season of low ketones, so the best way to help somebody with their health journey is to join them. And we did an MCT sprint. MCT is the fat that bypasses digestion. You absorb it, not digest it. And those strings of fat zip over to the liver and out come a bunch of ketones. These ketones made in your body last from 6 to 8 hours, all while delivering strings of healthy fat to places like the brain and other parts of the body. So what does it mean to skip the digestion? If you swallow lard or olive oil, the length of that fat requires your body to digest it and sift it through a safety protocol inside your system. MCTs are so nutrient dense and really have a superpower for turning into ketones. And the body has figured out a way to bypass the safety check. Although this sounds dangerous, it really is a rapid way to enhance ketosis when swallowing them. But how are ketones supposed to help back pain? Well, ketones create a very anti-inflammatory setting. My son's back pain was caused by an overworked and torn muscle. And this inflammation was a signal sent by the body for the immune system to come repair it. Thanks to the intensity of the sport, the downtime between these extended practices was not allowing him to completely shut off that signal. So it was turning into a chronic inflammatory process, much like arthritis. I told my son that if we could bathe that injured muscle in a hearty amount of ketones for an extended time, we would not only reduce the inflammation, but increase the repair process and hopefully have him ready for that regional tournament. Instead of titrating the dose like I would with patients, my son started out with a fistful of MCT capsules on day 1. I usually start patients out with 1 pill per day and titrate up over the next couple of weeks to about a dozen pills twice a day. Is that large of a dose safe? Well, the studies done for mild dementia took patients who started out with 30 pills a day and compared them to the ones who took 45 pills a day. And they started right out at that dose. Needless to say, they lost a few patients in that study because of diarrhea. In my practice, we back off once they get gut symptoms. But if you have a healthy teenage boy who's been living in a ketogenic home for a lifetime, he was able to handle 2 fistfuls a day of MCT and rapidly advanced to 3 fistfuls per day. Personally, I got to 2 fistfuls a day and had a tummy ache, so I was able to persist at that dose but not advance. So what did this do to our bodies? First thing, it suppressed our appetite. Both my son and I forgot to eat. I don't forget to eat. My fasting is very intentional. But forgetting to eat is an excellent sign that the fat-based hormones that surge during a ketogenic state are in good health. The second thing is the blood sugar. That week, I had morning fasting blood sugars in the 50s to 60s, and one morning it even dipped down to 39. That's pretty low. I tell patients to gauge how they feel if this ever happens, and to make sure they're taking salt. I felt sharp, had strong energy, and I was bridging that energy deficit with a bunch of ketones. Personally, I love seeing my morning fasting blood sugars get into the 60s because after years of insulin resistance, I know that that's a moment where the glycogen storage in my liver is almost gone. So what happened to my ketones? Well, they had been wimpy prior to this. My years of doing keto led me to a ketone range of 0.5 to 0.9, and I was stuck. So this graph shows different ranges of my ketones in different times. I lead a course in February and had done some challenges like a 3-day sardine challenge and then a 72-hour fast and had some really awesome results. However, afterwards, I didn't do so good for a while. Adding those MCT took my ketones from that 0.5, and by the end of the week, I'm over 2. Those are morning fasting ketones too. something that's very difficult for my body to do in the morning. My most surprising result was the 6-pound weight loss in 1 week. That was not my goal, but the boost of ketones revved my metabolism, suppressed my appetite, and that effect didn't just go away at the end of the week. It carried me for several weeks to come. I was very impressed how this worked so well. So what's the difference between taking MCT and supplementing with BHB ketones? And when should you take them? Find out in the next video. I'll see you there.